corruption.
Yes.
Corruption seems to be an epidemic that doesn't have a cure, especially you keep hearing of these scandals. Lately, you've heard of a scandal of where almost nearly $100 million just disappeared.
In Liberia.
In transit.
Right. Liberia lost almost 5% of its GDP. They ordered banknotes to be printed, I believe, in Sweden or some other country, and the money comes in, but it got lost somewhere in the from where it was printed to the central bank. Somewhere the money is missing, and they've been looking. The investigations are ongoing. The son of the former president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, was implicated in the scandal. The government of George Weah is currently under pressure because I think he ran on the platform of fighting corruption in the country. This is such a big story on the continent right now, actually around the world. I mean, how do you explain $100 million disappearing in a cargo the size of a small room, just disappearing off of a port?
I mean, I track my pennies wherever they fall. I track my dollars, and you're talking about $100 million.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right, and the other issue. So we're still waiting to see what happens with that story and the investigation. And today, another story that broke that I found very interesting was that the son of the former president of Angola, Jose dos Santos, the son who was in charge of the sovereign fund, has been arrested again for corruption, apparently in regards or related to the handling of the sovereign fund. Remember when the current president of Angola took over from dos Santos, they said he was a hand-picked person who was going to tread carefully in handling the businesses of the former Fast family. It's not looking that way. It looks like this man is actually coming in strong. And this was a very interesting story to read today, that the son of the family that had been in power for over 30 years is currently being investigated for corruption.
Well, you could say that the chickens are coming home to roast because those guys were used to really using the national, the national bank as their personal ATM.
Right.
The daughter is one of the richest people in Africa.
Absolutely. She's, I think the richest woman in Africa.
Yeah.
No? Yes.
Arguably the richest woman in Africa.
So the sister to the gentleman who has been arrested.
Right.
Yes.
So
and that comes at the heels.
Get those riches?
It comes at the heels of the story that we talked about last week. The son of Teodoro Obiang, who is currently the vice president of Equatorial Guinea, being arrested in Brazil with $16 million cash and watches, and so.
When I was reading earlier, there's something that struck a chord with me, talking about Liberia corruption. It's so endemic that there is actually no law. Corruption in Liberia is not punishable by law.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's not a crime.
No, it's not.
So anybody can get away with whatever they want to do.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
I found that to be interesting, considering.
Well, hopefully that the approach of the new president, who is in the U.S. right now, attending his first UN General Assembly, President George Weah. I still find that very interesting to say President George Weah, knowing that this guy was one of the best footballers the continent has ever had. We're still waiting to see what he will do in terms of fighting corruption in his country.
Will that football translate into
how he handled himself on the court, on the pitch, on the football pitch?